That's right. We're learning the Bidens want back in for some reason. With the Democrat Party, NBC says, struggling to find a new direction. They go back to the old guy. Former President Joe and former First Lady Jill have offered to jump in and help with fundraising and, quote unquote, rebuilding. The last guy erected is going to rebuild it. If there's one thing America loves, it's a comeback story, right? But please, please, not this comeback. Let's break it down with today's political panel. Our friend Bobby Eberle is here. He's a Republican strategist and chairman of the Fort Bend County Republican Party in the great state of Texas. And my friend, a giant of streaming, host of the Leventhal Report right here at N2 at the top of the hour, Rick Leventhal. Welcome back, gentlemen. And Rick, what in the world is Joe Biden thinking?
I can't believe I was just looking at the future, Ed. It's so refreshing and remarkable to see the future. I love this story so much, I made it my monologue tonight. This guy has got to be kidding. And the former staffers who heard about it, who spoke to the New York Post and NBC News, were in shock and really upset that the Bidens would be that full of themselves, that they would think that they could actually be the faces of the future of the party. And when Joe Biden, the former president, Joe Biden, the former president, the two of them are ridiculous, okay? And it's, I don't know if you got the joke there, but more of that later.
I did. I like it. Bobby, you jump in then. Let's get to the New York Post. A former White House advisor told the Post this afternoon, quote, the Bidens are still living in an alternative universe that revolves only around them. As I recall, Bobby, the Bidens stuck around too long. And Pelosi and Schumer had to shove them aside. Now they want to come back and wreck the party some more, Bobby? You're probably cheering it on down there in Texas.
Oh, well, it's funny, but there's one of these stories. There's certain stories out there that you shouldn't hear about when you're taking a drink of water. And this is one of them, because when I heard this, I nearly spit it out. It's like, what, the Bidens are back? And it's just funny that they had to get Pelosi, who's as old as death itself, to get rid of Biden. That's how bad the Democrats were, the Democrats in disarray. And the idea that they're coming back is so laughable. What is he going to do? If they want to use him for fundraising, he's not going to remember the person he called. He's not going to remember the person on the other line. And speeches, you know the thing? He's not. I don't know where this is going. Yeah. If they float it to test the waters, maybe? I don't know.
Well, and you're reminding me that one of the first group of Democrats that turned on Biden, even before Pelosi and Schumer, were the fundraisers. The money people wanted no part of Joe. George Clooney and others threw him overboard, Rick. Look at this poll, by the way. CNN poll asked Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents, which leader best reflects the party's core values? We've been talking about the fact that AOC was at like 10% and at the top and beat out Kamala at 9%. But the funny part, Rick, is Biden's only at 1% in that poll, so nobody really wants him in the Democrat Party. I don't even think Chuck Schumer made the list. So all of their leaders are old and out of touch, Rick.
It's a remarkable display of arrogance for Joe Biden to think he matters. In fact, one of the people who was quoted in the article I read said the further Joe stays away from fundraisers, the more likely it is they might actually raise some money. I've never seen a party this much in disarray. And remember, they make up at least half of American voters, and yet in the last poll, less than a third of Democrats supported what they've been doing since Trump was elected president. They don't know what to do. Yeah. And AOC is the future of the party.
That's right.
I'm sorry, but she might be the future for a small fraction of the party that is that extreme. But she's not going to appeal to enough of America to actually draw enough votes to win the White House. None of them are. Trump has set the bar so high that I think J.D. Vance is the only one who can be president in 2028.
Yeah, he's certainly lined up. And by the way, we've got a live picture on the bottom of the screen there. That's Morristown, New Jersey, where Air Force One should be landing any moment. President's going to be spending the weekend at his Bedminster Resort golf club there in New Jersey. It's landed. Okay, there you are. It was a little pip there, as we call it, a little picture-in-picture, and now I can see it has landed. If he emerges and talks to the press, we'll obviously go there live. He's going to be at Bedminster because his son, Barron, I think, had his birthday yesterday. There's supposed to be a party this weekend with the First Lady and others, and then tomorrow he'll be with Congressman Jim Jordan. Remember him as a big wrestler there at Ohio State. They were going to go in Philly nearby to New Jersey, the NCAA Wrestling Championships. Bobby, speaking of President Trump, he's on a roll. We talked about the F-47 fighter jets to take on China and others. UAE saying they're going to pour in $1.4 trillion in investment in America. And then remember when he torched the governor of Maine, who said that they weren't going to comply with that executive order banning biological men from women's sports. Today we learn Maine, of course, is caving. U.S. Department of Agriculture says the University of Maine system chooses sanity, complies with President Trump's policy of keeping men out of women's sports. Bobby, it looks like the Trump effect in full stride right now.
Oh, this is full steamroller right now. I mean, he's pushing issues that the American people want. He was elected because he would say he would deliver on these issues, and he's delivering them in record time at record pace. I think that's the only thing that has people freaked out a little bit is how can you get so much done in so little time? And the pressure, you know, Columbia is caving, Columbia University. So every time he puts the foot down, you know, whether it's Zelensky, whether it's Columbia, whether it's Maine, he's getting the victory. And the American people win as a result. But boy, I hope he steps to the podium after Air Force One and talks about Biden, because he was just talking about him the other day on how fast he can get to sleep. He's going to have some great stuff to see if Biden wants to be back.
Yes, and on Columbia, let's hit that quick because some breaking news, Rick. I know you'll be all over the top of the hour. The Columbia University has agreed to implement a whole bunch of changes. They're going to overhaul their rules for protest, quote-unquote protest, anti-Semitic attacks, conducting an immediate review of its Middle Eastern Studies Department, which sounds like it was infiltrated by terror groups and others, Hamas and whatnot. Rick, real quick, your thoughts. Bobby makes a great point. President says we're cutting off this federal funding. Columbia's responding, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the president is smart enough to have figured this out when no one else could. He knows how to use his power to make things happen, and that's what he's been doing for the last couple of months now. And threatening to pull funding from Columbia if they don't change their ways was a brilliant strategy, and it worked, and it's going to work with a number of other institutions that don't want to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. And, you know, I'll ask again, why are we giving them hundreds of millions of dollars in the first place? But that's neither here nor there. What we're seeing now is Columbia doing a 180 and completely changing its policy. It's going to stop letting kids wear masks on campus. It's going to put more security officers out there, and it's not going to let them get away with what they've been getting away with, attacking Jewish students for all this time. Good for Donald Trump, and listen, good for Columbia for admitting they were wrong.
Absolutely. The power of the purse in full effect. You can see Rick is fired up. You will not want to miss him at the top of the hour, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on N2. Bobby, you have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us as well, gentlemen.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.